Hello and welcome, and now I just wanted to come on here and share a few little ideas on how to incorporate some zero waste things into your life. And it's not necessarily like a physical thing that you need to be able to do this, but just a few ideas on how to address the mindset around zero waste and sort of this perfectionist image that is consistently portrayed by most people, including myself, around what zero waste should look like. So yeah, I don't know, I've just been thinking about this a lot recently, and I remembered when I first discovered this movement that I just seemed to see the same brands promoted by the same people, and it was like the Clean Canteen water bottle and the to-go bamboo ware and the eco lunchbox and the Keep cup and just products like that, which are all wonderful products, but really they just become a symptom of this image of what zero waste should look like, and then it becomes like this consumer purchasing thing rather than just trying to change your mindset, your relationship and your actions. And yeah, we start saying like the answer is if you have a stainless steel water bottle, therefore you're not producing waste and therefore that's a good thing, but it's also expensive and that's not necessarily a luxury that everyone can afford. So how do you address it when your circumstances are different from a middle class person who's able to afford those things and live that lifestyle in that particular way with those particular brands? So anyway, I just wanted to say that to begin with. Now, I am someone who, when first discovering this, saw all those things, became victim of that mentality, I guess, and purchase them and have them and use them, and they are very valuable products. However, they're not the answer to me producing less waste and becoming more conscious about the way I waste things, because we can do that on so many different levels, not just on plastic water bottles and like takeaway containers or whatever, so you don't waste leftovers at restaurants. Now, yes, I have this. I also have the wonderful Keep cup, which I don't use as much as I could do, but I do appreciate having this product. Now, these are the things that I went out and purchased. I also eventually went and got this like fancy titanium spork thing. Now, those are things that I have and I do use, I do love them, and I was able to afford to purchase those things. But if you are not that person, don't feel disheartened because you can still do so much without any of those items. So I just randomly ran through my house and tried to find what I could to, I guess, use as alternatives, and I found these plastic alternatives, but they're actually very functional in the item that they are to store leftovers or to take things with you to work or take food with you on the go. So this is a leftover yogurt container. You could also use a leftover hummus or sour cream or cream cheese container, whatever it is you have, and then this is just a plastic lunchbox. And I mean, the reality is this will last longer and it will be able to probably be used by my kids and my grandkids, and this will maybe be good for a couple of years and then I will have to get a new one. But at the end of the day, this is still doing a hell of a lot more than just consistently using single-use plastics. It makes a big difference. Now, yes, there's a certain aesthetic and a certain look to someone who has a stainless steel container, and yes, I am being able to produce less waste, but really it's about the consciousness you have and the effort you put in, and whether you do that with a plastic water bottle and a plastic container doesn't really matter if you're also doing it with a stainless steel one and the branded items like Keep cup and Clean Canteen. As long as you're actively trying to do something, and I don't know, just be aware of it, that's cool. That's all you need to do. Yeah, I don't know, you've got to do whatever you can out of your own freedom and out of your own wish to want to do something. You shouldn't do it because you've seen that I have a Clean Canteen water bottle, therefore you go and buy your own. Like, just find what you already have in your house. If not, find something that works for you and that you can afford and that you love and appreciate. That's more important. I just dropped my container. So anyway, those are those two things. Then obviously, instead of like getting a fancy ass spork, you already have cutlery in your house. Just use what you already have. It will do the same trick. It will be a tiny little bit heavier in your bag and it might go clink clink clink, but really it doesn't actually matter. You're still putting in that little bit of effort, and that's what counts. Yeah, same thing like tea towels. You could get fancy napkins or whatever it is that you want to take with you when you're going to eat out. Or you can just cut up a tea towel or an old t-shirt or whatever it is you have in your house. It just depends on how much you're willing to DIY and how much you enjoy doing that, and what you can really afford, and just what is your reality, because my reality is different to yours, and you shouldn't try and live up to the way that I'm trying to do it, because I'm just doing what works for me, and I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my own individual way of doing it, you know, and I'm trying to do something. So just any kind of rag that you have in your house works well. If you are a fancy person who wants to go and buy like stasher bags, for example, which is a branded item, it's a reusable sort of Ziploc bag, and you can pick them up off Amazon. They are pretty expensive in my opinion. However, I also have in the house just normal Ziploc bags, and instead of just using them once and then throwing them out, we just reuse them quite a few times until they start to fall apart, and then we discard them. But it's still better than the average person who doesn't even understand that as a sort of reality of trying to change their actions a little bit and just continues to just use one bag and then throw it out. Like this, yes, is a good alternative. Eventually this is of course going to break down, but if you can't afford to do this, or you just don't want to do that, that's fine. You do you, and you figure out what works for you. And if that means you continue to use Ziploc bags but you find a way to reuse them a handful of times before you discard them, then great, you've found something that works. You're making a small little change in yourself, and that is awesome. Like, just go with what you have and feel so comfortable and proud and happy of what you're doing, because I know that I'm someone who self-shames myself. Like if I buy a pack of chips and it's a plastic pack of chips, I get really like hateful on myself, and I think it's so easy for us to focus on all the negative things and all the things we're not doing, rather to then appreciate and applaud ourselves for the positive things that we are doing and the efforts we are putting in. And that is so much more important, because that is what's going to encourage you, keep you motivated, and keep you to continue on this journey in some way, shape or form. Obviously, if you have just jars in your house, this can be used as a carrier for liquids. You could use this to do the same job as what a keep cup would do, and also a stainless steel water bottle. This might break, yes, but it can still carry water. If you have that, then use it. If you, I don't know, just use what you already have, because I think you probably have most of the things in your house now. I have fancy ass chopsticks that I paid like $4 for, but really, if I'd ever just gotten a Chinese takeaway and had leftover chopsticks, those just wooden ones that you get for free, they work perfectly fine as well. It's the same with like stainless steel straws. Yes, it's hard to find a replacement straw, and I don't know if I necessarily recommend reusing a plastic straw, but really, do you actually need a straw with your drink? I find that if I'm in a restaurant and I get like a cocktail or something that you know, has different layers to it and you want to mix it up, I just use the end of this, which maybe isn't social etiquette, but I use that to stir it up and then I just drink it. I mean, I never feel like I ever want to drink water with a straw. The only time I ever feel like I want a straw is with a smoothie, but at the end of the day, you can also drink it without a straw. This is just something that our society does. It's not actually necessary. So anyway, that's my little random rant. Also, like, you can use little bags to store things in and stuff like that, but you can probably find old pillowcases, or you can turn old sheets into bags instead of buying this eco bags product that you've probably seen from other zero wasters, which I do have. And I, like I said in the beginning of the video, fell victim to this relationship of going out and buying those branded products because therefore it will make me produce less trash. That's not the case at all. What makes me produce less trash is my attitude, my willingness to kind of work with things, and my willingness to really evaluate what is necessary, and also to take care of things, put more effort into using up all the food that is in my house and not wasting food, and not like throwing my clothing around into the dryer all the time or whatever it is. Like, really taking care of what I have so that I don't have to consistently replenish or replace it. So yeah, just adding value into what you already have. That kind of goes along with minimalism, but just taking care of what you already have, just changing your relationship a little bit. And also, I just want to say, like, if you're someone who's having a hard time in your life and you've got a lot of emotional baggage and you're really stressed because you trying to make ends meet, you're trying to pay the bills, you're trying to like make your kids happy, feed your kids and stuff like this, like, you just do what's more important. Don't focus on the waste in your life. That is not important. What is important is your relationship to your children, the relationship to your friends and your family, and like just maintaining your home. And if that means you send your kids to school with plastic packaging all their sandwiches and everything, like, so what? You've got such different things that you need to concentrate on and that you need to put energy into in your life. Do that. Don't feel like you're being bad because you're not practicing zero waste things. You are actually doing what we all need to be doing. You are putting value where value is needed, and I'm someone that has the extra time, the extra energy to pay a little bit more attention to my waste. So I'm going to do that with this time, and I'm not going to just waste it by sitting on the computer or whatever it is. I want to engage and work with that time. But if you've got other things on your plate, focus on what is important for you. Do not feel like you need to live a zero waste life when you can feel like you can't even get through the week without feeling, I don't know, overwhelmed with everything. Just really focus on what's important. And zero waste is a material external thing that you can work with, but really what's important is like your emotional well-being. And if you're freaking depressed and you're practicing zero waste things, then you need to reevaluate that. This is just a thing that you can do. It's like a hobby that you can put lots of energy into if you want. But if you have emotional stuff that you need to deal with that. Don't try and sidetrack yourself with trying to live a zero waste life. It's really important that we just pay attention to those things. It's the same thing with minimalism. It's the same thing with any idealistic philosophical lifestyle choice. It's like, only choose it if you have the space in yourself to choose that out of freedom, and that you're not just trying to distract yourself from what's really going on in your life. So anyway, that is my little, I don't know, hopefully supportive rant to wherever you are in your journey. Like, don't feel like you need to do anything because anyone else does it. Really figure out what is adding value, what is actually healthy for you, and what do you really feel inspired and encouraged to do. Not what I'm doing, therefore you should do it because then you're practicing a zero waste life. That's not important. You can do everything I'm doing, but if you're not engaged, connected, and inspired by it, doesn't matter. So really just find your truth within whatever lifestyle choice you're making, and really see if this is where you need to put your energy. Because if it is, awesome. If it's not, really focus on what needs that attention of yours. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Share with me any thoughts you have in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!